Good morning. My name's Hank Suttler,
I'm Casey McBride.
and we're here with another fun episode of Stir Crazy Shamans.
You can never click on the right one.
You know, but my friend, Sean Phillips from HHH, he found out you can actually rename all the little videos, and I'm going to rename it right now. So
Okay.
again, I'm gonna just say crazy. Well, I'll do it after we're done. Welcome everyone to a long overdue episode of Stir Crazy Shamans. And
Yeah, it's been like a week and a half since we've been on or something, hasn't it?
because wait, did we stream last Wednesday? Maybe we didn't. We were
Mhm.
on. Yeah, I think it's been a while.
It was Sunday when Jameson was having the tech issues.
Oh, yeah, so it's been a while. Well, I mean, I've been on with Brian, but it's not the same. So,
Yeah.
welcome everyone.
Yeah, welcome.
But part of the reason we haven't been on is my clients typically I see in the morning, and Casey sees clients typically like late morning, early afternoon. And when we're both busy at the same time, with the nature of how we book people, we bumped this up a little bit out. So. Oh, well.
Yep, but we're gonna once again make an effort to try and be on here as often as we can. And well, anyway, we'll leave that for the end. Anyway, welcome everyone. Hank, what has been a part of your magical reality lately?
Well, I guess the class that I had just wrapped up with, I was teaching at Fellowships of the Spirit, this like little 5-part class called Attune Your Life. And the whole idea was to get to the place where you've done all your healing and refined your gone through your heaviness, gone through your hucha, so that you could express your authentic self into the world, which is kind of like the little topic I threw up for today is like, what would it take for people to really shine their light? And the question too is like, why do people even want to heal? It's not, the reason that we're really looking to heal, the definition of being wounded is anything that takes you away from being the full authentic you, the full infinite being in this world. So it's not about getting rid of the symptoms. It's about what would it take for you to really step into your totality of who you are. And healing is number one, expressing is number two. This is the time in the world where people really need to step up and start choosing to shine their light, which was
Right.
the topic I put out today. What would it take?
There's so many people I encounter who experience so much mental suffering on a daily basis. They're not happy with their jobs. They just have anxiety all the time and depression, and they're just not happy with life. And our natural state is to feel immense joy and real beautiful love and peace. And but it's not about adding things to us. It's not like, okay, well, if I learn this, or like I take this little bit of that and I add this practice to me or whatever, then when I add enough things, I'll have that peace and love and joy. It's the opposite. It's about removing things, right? And when I do healing work with people, often it is usually just about removing shit. So it's either like entities or hucha or whatever it is. We're removing things. And then once we clear away all the stuff, then people experience that joy and that peace. And it's because we're clearing away obstacles that are keeping them from experiencing their natural state. And our natural state is just that loving joy all the time.
Yeah, one analogy that comes up in the program, I don't think we've got covered it in our class yet. Have we talked about shadow? And I don't mean like hucha. It's not hucha. Shadow is the definition of as water runs through a dam. If there is the product that they call electricity, the electricity is the shadow of the water running through the dam. So as we have our body and our being and all that, and energy of the Kause Pacha, the field 11 energy is running through this set of filters, it is creating the shadow of who we are in this world. And it's about, like, if you think of yourself like a dam, how much more electricity could you make if you were allowing things to flow freely instead of like getting blocked up, for example. So when you say you remove things, I look at it as like to be that hollow bone. You're getting rid of all these blockages. You're getting rid of all this stuff, so you can have this free flow of energy and express yourself. You're expressing your shadow into this world.
Yeah, definitely, and that's a big thing. Like even doing physical healing, right? oftentimes around an injury, there is just a lot of that heavy energy or hucha encrusted around the physical injury, and it can't heal just because there's a lot of that. And again, and to my understanding, a lot of it is generated from our mental, emotional suffering or around whatever that injury was. And when we remove that, then the light energy, the pure light energy, can just flow through. And that will oftentimes like instantaneously get rid of all the physical pain and even fix the physical problems. And the flow of Sami is like, it's our natural state should be to have that light energy, that Sami flowing through us.
I wish I could play that the clip you sent me last night. Like I forget what time. Casey just sends me this message where he's just like, "Oh man, joy is our natural state." But he was coming from a place when he left me this little voice clip from this place like deep personal, like he had this knowing of it, and it was just coming through at this message.
Wait, I think I have it. Should I play it?
You can.
Let me find it. Was it this one?
Well, while he's looking for it, if you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to.
I am feeling an abundance right now, an abundance of love. There is enough love, an unlimited amount of love. There's love. Everyone can feel love and powerful joy and deep peace. That is our natural state, is to feel like that. Just clear away the shit. And there is peace and joy and love. Everyone can feel this all the time. I love you, Hank. What is it?
Oh, that part's hilarious. Oh, you're not going to play that?
It's good.
No, it's all right. Casey forgot the word in Quechua for soul, and he called me Wilka Nina Wakuchai, which means sacred fire brother, instead of saying Wilka Nuna Wakuchai, which would be sacred soul brother. But both are really good. You know, I like playing with fire too, so it works. I love you too, Casey.
Yes. Oh yeah, that was I was listening to this kirtan, which is like these they're these I don't know, Brahmin chants, I think. Anyway, or maybe not Brahmin, I don't know. Anyway, but they're designed to like do different things. So like one chant you might do is like to clear away obstacles and things, and another one might be to like get rid of the sense of lack and fill yourself with a sense of abundance. And I was listening to one of those, and just afterwards I was just like, it was genuinely in that space. Like, it's funny, I was listening to that, and if someone wasn't aware that you could reach those kinds of states naturally just by clearing things away, they'd probably think I was like really high or something. Just the way I sounded. But I was genuinely just hanging out, experiencing the joy of being. and that is, you look at different animals in nature, right? And I you can almost see it, where a dog just like running, wagging his tail and playing. It's just the joy of being. Or like an eagle flying with like his wings, not flapping his wings for an hour, just soaring through the air without like moving, just completely. Those are animals just experiencing the joy of being. And our natural state is to be like that as well. So yeah, anyway. I want everyone to feel this way, and I want everyone to know that if you're willing to receive it, we can all heal from whatever traumas or experiences we've had, and we can all experience really powerful joy all the time. So yeah, and it's worth it. There may be times when the process to getting there for some people seems really frustrating or difficult, or there may be a lot of suffering along the way to get there, but it is so worth it.
And most of that suffering comes from judgments, either judging ourselves as something or accepting or receiving somebody else's judgment as true for us, which isn't really true. And if we can just start to step into the place of interesting point of view, that can start to shift all of that. And then the healing doesn't have to be hard or anything like that, because when you take the charge off of it, most of it's pretty easy. It's just as simple of being in the flow. And
yep. Yeah, and it's when I do healing work for people, especially around physical pain, we have this idea, like someone's been carrying, like for example, like the one client had a migraine she'd had for 6 months, and she'd been carrying this around with her for 6 months and suffering. It was causing her like depression because of it and all this stuff. And I told her, like, if you're willing to receive the healing right now, we can, like, that can be gone like that. And so I literally did gathered up all the hoocha at one point and like snapped and popped it. And she just looks at me, just like, "What was that?" I'm like, "What?" She's like, "It's gone." And then she's like, "No, that doesn't make sense. No, 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 no." Like, but the mind, she literally couldn't wrap her head around how like that the pain could just from 6 months could just be gone in an instant. And in our minds, people believe that, like you said, we've talked about it before, but we're programmed with these, like anything worth having is worth working hard for. And, like if it sounds too good to be true, it has to be true. And we have all these ideas that things have to be like arduous and you really have to work and it has to be this huge process in order to heal from something. But in that moment, if you're just in that space of I'm willing to receive, incredible, miraculous things can happen for everyone.
I love in Lomi Lomi, which is Hawaiian's hand healing. They say that the healer is just the observer of the miracle, and all the healing happens in that null point between breaths where you're neither breathing in and breathing out. All the healing happens in an instant in that little point in time, and it comes down to receiving.
I couldn't agree more with that. In the past, when I would do healing work, or back in my earlier days, I would sit there with this laser like focus and be like tracking and moving energy to try and clear this out and do this and manipulate that field. And now the real healings take place when I'm not there mentally. Casey doesn't exist. There's no thought. It is just void space. And in that void space of just absolute nothing, where for all I know, I'm not even in the room. Like as soon as I tap into that, like I could be trying, running some things, and the second I tap into that just absolute nothingness, then people are like, "Oh, it's gone," and that's the moment that it happens. So it really is, And I spent before I started doing healing work, I spent a long time just I don't know how to say it. Not cultivating, that's the wrong way to put it, but I'm spending a lot of time just being in that space of isness, without any thought, without any emotion or anything, just being as the space. And I didn't, for the longest time, it was just being there because there was just vast peace in that space. And there was no other reason I was doing it other than to experience that peace. And then, fast forward to the work I'm doing now, and one day it just clicked with me that it was whenever I was in that space, that was when real healing took place. And so I don't even know what other, what else is possible within that space of just total isness, lack of personality, emotion, thought, just total space. I don't know, for all I know, that in that space, telekinesis and all kinds of amazing things can manifest.
Because in that space, there's no expectations. And
right.
I think one of the biggest things that hold up healings is people's expectations or their belief around being able to do something or not do something. When you check out, you're not even the one doing it. You're just present for the miracle, like we were to with Lomi Lomi, and then whatever happens.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and you definitely are. You're just the observer. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know how to put it. I want to find a way to put it that's a little better. Anyway, well, I'll just say what I was thinking. But there are some times when someone would thank me wholeheartedly for a healing, and I would feel weird about that. So I'm like, I didn't do that. I was present for it, but it wasn't me. It was the energy just flowing, and the spiritual beings and everything. They were the ones that did the work. Not so much anymore that I feel like that. They're grateful. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
No, well, them being grateful for you is different than them being grateful that you healed them. And I would differentiate between the two. If someone says thank you for healing me versus thank you, just for my time, I might be like, well, you brought your healing with you.
Right.
So give yourself some credit too.
Yeah.
You're willing to receive. It's a two-way thing. Nothing would have happened if you weren't willing to receive it. So.
Right. And that's a big thing. Some people walk through the door and it's like, well, what are you looking what are we looking to work with today? And they might say oh, well, yeah, I know I got these digestive issues and my shoulder is really painful all the time, but you're not going to do anything about that. That's a cartilage thing. So it's not going to be nothing's going to fix that. Well, If you didn't decide that, then we probably could. But if you're not open to receiving the healing, then I'm not even going to try and touch it.
Right. When things like that happen too, though, like with my most recent one, I had someone I worked with. By the end, I could feel like just throughout the whole thing, she was really resisting and everything. And I asked, "What is this about?" And then I got kind of a movie playing in my head. And at the end, I'm like, "Well, we're going to stop at 15 minutes." And I think based on what I picked up, that it might be more prudent for you to work with a female healer, at least at the beginning. And like she resonated with that immediately. And she's like, "Yeah, I think you're right." And it wasn't anything about me. It was just because of what was being healed, and I'm a guy. And so there was already a barrier right there. But as healers, we can be aware enough to say, okay, what is this about? And if there is a situation where we can't be that facilitator, what could then can we refer them to someone that would be a better vibrational match, at least in that moment? And then they, of course, I fully anticipate her coming back to see me after about a month or two, after she does some other work first, because she really wanted the sound healing. She just was in such resistance to it. So she's got a little other work first, but that's cool.
Definitely. No, there are some people that are like you said, you have to play some people death metal before they're willing to listen to a symphony.
Yeah,
and all kinds of other things.
Well, that's an analogy for meeting people where they're at, incidentally.
Right.
Yeah, but like some people, like if they're really fear-based and things, like though I don't believe you need. For me, I don't run around needing protection or things like that. But depending on where someone is, they might need a little mojo bag or a spell casting or something like that to give them peace of mind, because they're in such a fear-based state versus getting into a love-based state. And there's no right or wrong to either one of those. It's like the Papa Messiah and the Alta Messiah. One's fear-based. If we don't do what the Apus say, they're going to punish us. And the Alta Messiah, working with the exact same Apus, says, why would they do that? They're our friends.
Yeah, no, and I think that's interesting. No, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in the Paco Kuna tradition, normally you would learn the fear-based stuff first before you learn to communicate directly with the
I think it's more based on just how spirit presents to you. Like a Pampa Masao can't communicate directly with the spirit world. They just do ceremony and have faith that it's happening, but they don't necessarily have the direct communication. So I think it's more like the way Zane teaches, he would do the experience, the Alta Masao stuff first, and then in the master class bring in the other things. But you can see now in the work that we're doing, he's incorporating them both. He's things that he used to teach because we have way more time. But from his point of view, it was like work directly with the spirits first, get to the place where you could do a ceremony 100% wrong and still get the desired effect, where a Pampa Masao classically trained would be like, if I put the wrong thing in the despacho or I put in the wrong spot, then the magic won't happen. Oh, and Mike's checking in. Good morning, Mr. Mike. Your first comment of the day. Everybody's quiet today. Nobody wants to talk. But if you do, if you're watching and you have questions, you have comments, there's something you want to
also. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
To the conversation, we welcome your comments. It kind of helps us steer our conversation to wherever the energy is going today. And what were you going to say, Casey?
I was going to say that we are streaming to several different locations. Okay, like I just saw someone commented, Sarah Jane says, hello, guys, on Shamans Way on my page. So you have to be commenting on the YouTube channel, preferably, or Stir Crazy Shamans Facebook page. Otherwise, we're not going to see your comments roll through.
Yeah, we found this trick with our streaming software that we can stream to like one Facebook thing and then it distributes it out to like 5 other pages that we're streaming to. The downside is when we do it that way, the comments don't roll up real time into the studio. So we only will see comments if it's on my profile, Stir Crazy Shamans, YouTube, Stir Crazy Shamans Facebook, or Periscope. Those.
Or to make it really simple, just go to YouTube.
Go to YouTube. Yes, go to YouTube and we'll see it. Yeah, you don't care about my reasons and justifications. I get
it. Well,
No, but there's something to be said to that. That is a very important thing to be mindful of as people start to step into healing work. Look to where you are reasoning and justifying your choice. There's this little passage in the Bible that says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Well, why is that? You're just in simple choice then. You choose because you choose. But when you say, I'm choosing this because of X, Y, and Z, now you have reasons and justifications. Is it your choice? Now you're defending your choice because you fear judgment. So, like, let your yes be yes and no be no. If you start to feel that need to defend your choice, then there's some underlying judgments in there that might be causing some hoocha.
And I love when people like sort of over explain things, like I recently
Like
had
I
some,
just did.
no, yeah, but anyway, so I was gonna say I had someone ask if they could stay at my place recently, and they had this whole thing prepared in their head of like what they were gonna say about it, and they were like, "Hey, I'm gonna be in town on this day. Is it all right if I say?" I was like, "Yes." And they're like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Yes." And I go, okay, because I was going to say, because I'm going to be here with this person, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, so you can stay anytime you can stay at our place. And, but it was funny because it was, it's almost like,
Because you got to work hard to get your way, right?
what is going on here? Oh, that's Magic Mike stuff. Magic Mike, what are you talking about? What? Someone in Kentucky under house arrest? What?
I think he's talking about the state of the world in general, is my
Oh,
thought. But we'll say hello to Sarah. Good morning, Sarah. Thank you for tuning in. And Mike, I don't know if I'll put your thing up or not because it's I don't know the full context of what you're getting at yet. But if you give us some more context in a concise sentence, preferably, we can maybe speak to it. But in general, I guess he's talking about how there's a lot of fear in the world. And I would mention when it comes to fear, I have a lot of great acronyms for fear, but it's where we forget ourselves. But basically, we forget ourselves as an infinite being. We cut off our awarenesses because as an infinite being, there's nothing that you're not aware of. And in full awareness, is there any time that you could actually be afraid of because you have the knowing that you will continue on. You have the knowing that everything works out and the need for fear is gone. So as we step into the state of affairs in the world, like what are you aware of that you're not willing to acknowledge that if you were to acknowledge could make all the fear melt away with total ease? That's the question to be. And then the fear doesn't have to be there. You can then choose to be part of a solution, a soul evolution for humanity.
Oh, I like it. No, in like back to what we were talking about, being in that space of isness where the real miracles happen. Same thing. I think the greatest teaching or healing a person could receive is to touch in with that themselves, because we're touching in with who we are really at our essence. And at our essence, there's nothing, like, we can't die. We can never die, but we can never truly be harmed, right? Because we are the space that allows for all things to be. So if you are identified with that as who you are, instead of the fleeting thoughts and emotions that are constantly running through your field of consciousness, if you're identified as the space, then there's just this unshakable calm peace all the time. And that's not to say you won't experience emotions or fear, anxieties. They'll, as a human, those things will still arise in your field, but you're not identified with them anymore. You're not so involved with them mentally. It's a weird thing to say, but like you could even have like a panic attack, but you're not invested in it. And it will pass much more quickly because there's not. And again, whenever we have thoughts, or like say a stressful thought of you're thinking about, oh man, tomorrow I've got to pay my bills and I don't know if I'm going to be able to because I have to blah 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 blah. So these thoughts come up, and it may have just started with like, oh, what am I going to have for dinner? Like, it could be a simple thought like that, which then turns into, oh, well, I shouldn't go out because I do need to save a little bit of money. And, oh, speaking of money, did I pay? And then my bill. Oh, no, I have to pay my bills. And so it's these thoughts that come through when we're identified as the thoughts and we think that's who we are. Then it's almost like these thoughts have a certain like momentum or gravity. So it starts out, and this thought of like, what will I have for dinner has just a little bit of gravity. And if you let it pull you in, then it will just take you down this road, and it will gain momentum and become this huge thought storm, right? And then when you're stuck in the moment of it, then you're like really perpetuating all this suffering. When what's the reality, right? You're in this state where all this horrible stuff is happening to you, but in real life, you're just sitting in a comfortable room, right? Maybe there's a little tapestry of the forest there, Sun's outside. There's a tree.
Or maybe you're watching your favorite episode of Stu Crazy Shamans.
Right, and in reality, everything's great. um, but yeah, so but again, so when you're identified with the thoughts, it's almost impossible to break free of that because we believe we are the thoughts, and so you get pulled along very easily. And if instead you're not identified with that and you're identified with the space that allows for those thoughts to be, then little thoughts will arise and then they go away. They come and they're just little like gentle passing clouds, right?
Yeah, I was going with the same thing, clouds to the sky.
Yeah.
And people typically have an easy time thinking of the body as something we have, but we are not the body. Same thing with thoughts. The thoughts are something we have, but it is not us. And if you can start thinking of it that same way, it makes those things pass a lot more freely and clearly and quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was when there was a time I was working at a telemarketing company, and I was really just like, and especially when I was there, I was very focused on just remaining as that space, and so I always had a big smile on my face. I was always very joyful, and I would have people ask me things every once in a while. Like the one day, they were like, "Do you ever have a bad day?" And I was like, well, I have things that happen that aren't ideal and are uncomfortable, but I know that that's not me. I know that I'm that much allowed. I didn't put it exactly this way, but I basically explained a simpler version of that I'm the space, and when thoughts arise, I don't let them pull me along. And I think I got asked that one point because I was talking a little bit about like just being the space and being mindful. People understand like mindful meditation and all that stuff. So I was talking a little bit about that, and I think someone asked me, they're like, "So you still have thoughts then?" And I said, "Yes, absolutely, I have thoughts, but I know that that's not me. So when a thought arises, it just comes and goes. I'm not sitting there getting pulled along by the weight of it." But yeah, it's funny when you really are like coming from that space of total isness and being in the joy of that. People almost get suspicious sometimes, depending on the environment. If you're around a lot of spiritually open people, then it's usually good. But if you're in a telemarketing company where people are used to being miserable, then they get a little suspicious. Like, why is that guy so happy all the time?
One more thing around fear that I want to touch on that I've mentioned this in previous streams, that as children, sometimes we start to misidentify fear with or excitement for fear. And just an example of how it happens, Dr. Dane, when he was at a little kiddie park and he was about to go on a merry-go-round with the little racehorses, and he's all excited, and his mom says, "Now, honey, don't be afraid." And he started at a young age saying, "Oh, what I'm fearing, that's not excitement, that's fear," and starts to mix the two up. Anyway, to today's point in time, when we are looking at what's happening in the world and there's a lot of fear and anxiety, ask yourself, is it fear that you're feeling, or is there a part of you that sees this change and is recognizing this new possibility, and there's an excitement about the time that we're going through? And maybe it's not fear at all, maybe we're excited, and then you can ask, what could I be to contribute to this change in the world? And that fear could shift very quickly to a sense of ease and excitement, and a place where you feel that you can contribute instead of where you're paralyzed as a victim. So one more thing on fear I wanted to touch on, because I feel that it's not for everybody. Some people are legitimately like freaked out, but there's some people who are seeing it, that are actually seeing the potential that we have as humanity and this excitement, but the ego's freaking out because it doesn't know what that possibility will bring. But it's really excitement that's underneath it all.
Yeah, definitely.
So
how are we feeling? We're at half an hour. Oh, actually, it may be better to cut it at a half an hour for me today.
Yeah, because you have people. Well, and we both already felt the energy. That's why you didn't bring up the question. We're like,
yeah. Anyway, things we're doing right tomorrow. If anyone would like to open themselves up to the possibility of incredible magical healing, we are doing a live stream shamanic sound healing concert thingamajig.
yes.
So if you want to be a part of that, tune in to the YouTube channel. I know for sure. It's like,
yeah, we'll probably stream directly to Shaman's Way tomorrow too, but preferably YouTube, and comment. That all helps it helps YouTube to know that it's relevant content and it serves it to more people. So if you can watch, please be live on that at 11 on our YouTube channel. And if you can like and comment and stuff like that, it just helps it get served to more people. But we're going to be using sound tools like this. This is my little handheld bowl, which I like very much. But we're going to just, if you've seen in the past, we open up in ceremony and then we just kind of follow the energy. We have the sound tools, but we aren't necessarily going to use them, but we just follow the energy and see what we can do to help facilitate healing with people.
Yeah. And it's like I said, if you're open to receiving it, really, really cool shifts can happen for people. So.
Yes. And the other thing to do is, if you don't want to just show up and you would like to have a more personalized experience, or if you know you're going to miss it, of course you can always catch it on the replay. But if you go to our website, stircrazyshamans.com, under virtual events, there is a registration link, and it's free. You can just go on and register. You put in your name. During the opening ceremony, we will specifically call in your spirit, your soul, to be part of the work. So it's a little bit more of a personalized experience. If you do want to pre-register for that, you can do it on our website, stircrazyshamans.com.
Yes, and I'm trying to think of other things. Anything else that you or I are doing? Oh, go ahead.
Well, tonight, 7 o'clock, if you like this talk about humanity evolving and stepping into a new place of being, we are doing a book 4 Conversations with God discussion group. It's the works of Neil Donald Walsh, and the book is titled Awaken the Species. We're doing chapters 11 through 15 today. Chapters 1 through 10 are on the HHH YouTube. If you want to go back, there's a playlist just for that book discussion, and you can catch up if you want. But at the end of the day, you don't even have to read the book. You can just show up and listen to us. So there's not a requirement. And then at midnight, technically tomorrow, I'll be on with Brian Edwards out in Hawaii for Midnight Meanderings. So that's always an interesting conversation.
And everyone, please go check out my YouTube channel, Shamans Way. I just uploaded another shamanic healing compilation. It's just cool to be able to watch and see like what is possible for some people during healing sessions. And I'm really happy with how this one came out. It was a lot of fun to film it. And yeah, so it's really cool energy. If you guys want to check that out on Shaman's Way, it's just the latest video on there. I think it's got some clickbaity kind of title, like real energy healing, all caps, and like powerful shamanic healing, whatever, because you have to do that for YouTube's algorithm. But it's a very cool video with really amazing healings, and so check that out.
And speaking of that, I have a YouTube channel as well, which kind of has been hidden because most of my videos were all unlisted, but I finally made most of them public. So if you go to the Sonic Shaman, that's my YouTube channel, and there's a couple things in there where I have some sound convergences where it's me, Sonic Alchemy, and the Gong Experience doing sessions. I have a activation with Crystal Skull Max where we recorded a live sound demonstration, and I did like an attunement process with Max to Crystal Skull. So there's some pretty cool stuff. I already have 51 subscribers, considering I just started. That's cool.
Nice.
But if you want to check out my page too, and like it, that's where Casey and I each have our own thing going on, and then this is the thing that we do together. So you can support us all the way around if you'd like to.
Subscribe here too. Subscribe.
Oh yeah, subscribe to links. No, you can just search for it, Mike, and YouTube. No, because I don't have the link very easily. Well, actually, maybe I do. Can you grab yours real quick, Casey? While I grab
yeah, let me do that.
For Sonic Shaman. Boom, there's my link.
Okay.
And then just acknowledging our friend from the UK, Sarah. She was just saying, thank you, gentlemen. Enjoyed listening to you both. Enjoy the rest of your day. Sending love all the way from the UK.
Love it. Okay. Copy. I got the link. So, okay, I post that in here on the comments. Yep.
Yeah, I would put in for Shaman's Way, though, since the YouTube links. Well, you have a... oh, you didn't... Oh, you did the sneaky one.
Did I just hit it? Okay, anyway.
You got it.
I didn't put in for Shaman's Way, but anyway, that's Shaman's Way. Yep. Anyway. Thank you, everyone, so much for your energy and your attention today. And thank you for being open to receiving whatever little nugget of wisdom or change you were willing to receive today.
Or maybe it was just fun. That's cool, too.
Yes, that too.
All right, and we will see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock Eastern Time for the group healing share. See you next time, everyone.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Nike, Nike, Nike.